Good morning. We're here at Contour Studios with a close friend of ours, Natalie Carey at EXIT Realty. We appreciate you coming in today, Natalie, to talk a little bit about what's going on in the Long Island market.
I'm happy to do it. And great seeing you, Bridget, as well.
Thank you. You know, when we were thinking about what we would focus on today, we thought we'd just start with basics. Okay. You do most of your business in Suffolk County. If you could give us an assessment of what you're seeing. We know the craziness that was last year, but what's going on in the market now? All
right. Last year, just a quick recap, that was the last year and a half, 2 years actually, with COVID has been unprecedented with real estate. Right. People were worried about living in urban areas, and so we had a big influx of people coming to Long Island. Mm-hmm. Prices shot through the roof, whereas originally people thought it was going to crash. Obviously it did not. Prices have continued to go up. Last year was a trifecta of things. There were abundance of buyers, so many buyers looking to purchase and not enough inventory. Market rates were very low, and you know,
stimulated demand.
Stimulated demand. So there was such a crush for housing that the prices have really shot through the roof and made it a little bit difficult for first-time home buyers. This year, you know, we've seen a change. So finally, instead of having 20 buyers that are vying for each house and getting a lot of offers on them, we're now seeing maybe 4, 5 offers, and that reflects the change in interest rates. It's kind of mucked a few people out of the mortgage, you know, not qualifying anymore, but you know, there's still excellent values to be had, and we are, you know, providing a lot of new listings. The listings are sitting a little bit longer.
Okay.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
You're not seeing the bidding wars going on.
There, you know, sometimes you'll get an absolutely perfect house. There's always going to be bidding wars, but each and every house is not having a bidding war on it. And for buyers, this is a good thing because you don't want to walk through an open house in 3 minutes and have to make a several $100,000 decision, or you lose the house. Right now, it's getting back to a more balanced market where people have time to consider, take a second look, and we've even seen some people getting concessions with the mortgages and even asking for repairs after an inspection, which last year was that was not happening last year. People are just throwing money and you know, just praying they got a roof over their head. So it actually is a better balance now. I would say in many ways a more balanced and better market for sure.
Absolutely. The insanity is out of it.
Yes. We're also seeing a lot more inventory. People were just holding tight last year and not selling because they were afraid they wouldn't have anywhere to go. Where am I going to go once I sell?
Right.
Just to talk numbers for a second, like an average market is 6 months worth of inventory, where if I'm a buyer, I can go and call a realtor and say, can you show me some houses in this area? And there will be several to choose from. Right. That's called like a 6-month balance of inventory. Last year, at the height of the frenzy, it was like half a month's inventory. In other words, as soon as the houses came on, they were gone. Most of them didn't even, I mean, they barely hit MLS before they were already sold within the office.
Wow.
Right, so there wasn't a lot of opportunities for people. Now it's nicer for buyers. They're getting a little more elbow room, relaxation time, take their time and find just the right house instead of panic buying.
That sounds good.
It is good.
Sounds like a positive change.
It's yes, getting back to normal.
That's great.
Normal's good.
That's great.
Great.
Natalie, I thought we'd start today with just a general discussion of the market. You do most of your business in Suffolk County. Tell us a little bit about what's happening.
All right, this year we're seeing a much more balanced market than we have in years past. The last 2 years, due to COVID, there's been a lot of bidding wars due to lack of inventory. Also, the mortgage rates were incredibly low, and it just became a feeding frenzy, and very difficult for buyers, frankly, because as soon as homes would come up, they would be gone. As soon as they came out, they wouldn't have time to really make the important, look under the hood type thing before they bought these houses. We're seeing now a lot more inventory coming out. Mortgage rates have ticked up a little bit, but they're not, it's not tremendously high. And, it's giving a lot more opportunity for sellers because there's more inventory and it's lasting a little bit longer. People are taking their time because a few of the buyers that might have been a little bit more marginal have gotten knocked out, but there are many qualified ones. So, when you're looking to sell, there's still people who are well qualified, and I called last year's market the Game of Thrones market. It was very difficult for buyers, not for sellers so much, but for buyers. This year, much more balanced. And even sellers, it was difficult for them because once you sell your house, you've got to go somewhere, and then you're on the flip side of it.
Natalie, as an experienced agent, what would you say the 3 things buyers should focus on when looking to purchase a home?
Well, first and foremost, I would say the number one thing is to know how much you're capable of purchasing, your buying power. So getting a pre-approval is critical. And when you speak to a lender such as yourselves, I'm sure you go into depth with them, the price of the house as well as the other expenses that go into the mortgage, as people are unaware of, especially first-time home buyers. That's number one. Number 2 is location. Whatever's most important to you. It might be wanting to live close by to family, or commute time, or preferred school district. That's narrow it down to an area that's important. And number 3 is the house style. What amenities do you want in that house? What can't you live without that you must have? And then what we're going to do is take a balance of all 3 of those things. And at some point in time, they may overlap, and you may have to wiggle a little bit more. Maybe you'll need to come up with a little extra for your budget if you absolutely can't do without that style house, or you need that pool, or I must be in the school district, but
or
maybe
that extra room too.
Right, or maybe I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of the room for the district I want.
All right, Natalie, maybe you could give us the 3 most important tips, 3 steps for a homeowner when they're selling their home.
Absolutely. Number 1, I always say number 1 is declutter. Declutter. People walking in your house are trying to think of where they're going to put their stuff. So if your house is cluttered, it will look less large. It's just visually unappealing. So quick and easy fix would be box everything up, put it in the garage. People don't care if there's a million boxes in the garage. They know what a garage is. But having the extra floor space less is better.
Okay.
Keep it simple. Everything off the counters, especially for showing. Number 2, when you're going to show the house, make sure you had it clean that week. People don't want to see hair in the sink and garbage in the garbage pails. And it's just you want to you have one chance to put your best foot forward, and people, cleanliness, it makes, and pride of ownership, a big factor. And thirdly, I would say landscaping. Even when people are looking at it with a fresh set of eyes, your bushes might have grown over those windows 20 years ago, but you don't notice it anymore. But have a landscaping company come in. It's for the amount of money you're going to spend just to have the bushes cleaned up, weeds trimmed. It's going to give so much more curb appeal, and the value it's going to add is going to far, exceed what it's going to cost you.
Natalie, this morning we've covered a lot of topics. I think the one thing we haven't touched on is, why is it important not to overprice your house?
Great question, Bridget. Anytime I've met with a seller, of course, their objective is to get the highest amount of money for their house. My objective is to get them the highest amount of money for their house. That helps me as well. But prices are based on recent sales and comps. People are not going to overpay for your house if they can get something similar, even if you have the sentimental attachment to your house. That's really not factoring into the buyer's scope of things. So we need to position it that it's very attractive to get the most people in to view the house. Even by positioning it perhaps on the lower side of what we think we're going to get, we're going to get a larger audience in and potentially bid it up, which is what we've seen a lot of in this last couple of years. The market is ultimately what determines the price. You may have an opinion of what you think your house is worth. I may have a really good estimate just based on comps, what it's worth.
Right.
But until people are willing to take their checkbook out and write that check and put money on the table, that's what your house is ultimately worth. And by exposing it to the most people and getting the most offers, we could review them and see where they're coming in, and the market will determine that number.
I think that's really great advice.
Natalie, let's talk about some of the listings that you have, the recent listings that you just took on.
All right, yeah. This week, it's been a busy couple of weeks, and I've got things at all different price points.
But I heard you're busy. You're busy right now.
Yes, busy is good. It's always good to be busy.
Right.
Yes, I love serving my customers, and I've got a range of properties right now. Starting at a starter home, I've got a 2-bedroom condominium in Holtzville.
Okay.
which is in about the 300s price point.
Right.
Great for maybe a first-time home buyer or somebody just getting started in their career. I have a starter home also, smaller 3-bedroom, 1-bath ranch in Central Islip.
Okay.
Lovely house, was completely rebuilt after Hurricane Sandy, so everything brand new in that house. A lot of pride of ownership as well.
Right.
And then I've got a very nice home in Hauppauge with a beautiful in-ground pool, a lot of upgrades, big expanded chef's kitchen. So there's always different properties coming up. So if they're not available next time I speak with you, I'm sure I'll have some others.
And I know you're always in
Absolutely.
Comac and Deer Park, and I
Right,
see
well,
your name everywhere now.
Yes. My office is in Smithtown, town of
Okay.
Smithtown.
Right.
A lot of my listings do radiate from there, but all over Long Island I've sold in Great Neck as far as out in Wading River.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Natalie, we're seeing your name pop up all over the place. Okay.
Yep.
Why don't you give us a little bit about what areas most recently your listings are in?
well, currently I've got listings in Holtzville, Central Islip, Hauppauge, and one coming up in Smithtown very soon. It's always changing, and different price points for all these homes, different style homes. But I would tell anybody before they even begin to start looking for a house, absolutely you must get your pre-approval first. Because you're not going to have any idea of what you can afford. You might have an idea of what you think you could afford, and then I don't want people being disappointed when they find out it might be a little bit out of their budget, or conversely, they could afford maybe something
more.
better than they did with the different programs that the lenders are offering. So it's always most important just speak to your lender first and get a good idea of what you're qualified to purchase. Charlie and Bridget, I'm working with a lot of buyers right now who've got a lot of trepidation about jumping in. They're afraid that, with the rates being a little bit higher now, is this a good time or should they wait? What are your feelings on that?
Well, I think really most importantly is you want to find out when they were last pre-approved.
Absolutely.
Okay, when their lender looked at that pre-approval, because we've seen a lot of rise in interest rates over the past 6 to 8 months, and I hear it time and again from realtors that Bridget and I deal with that they were qualified. I don't know what happened, and basically the lender and the buyer, it's their fault as well of not keeping it updated. So you want it every 30 to 60 days, rule of thumb with Bridget and I, we're always updating the pre-approval.
The calculation I give my clients is that's $30,000 a year, 5 years, that's $150,000. You haven't built any equity. Interest rates are still good.
That's true, and real estate historically is one of the best investments over time.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So
of course.
I guess
Yeah.
there's always the opportunity to refinance too at a lower rate
Right.
in time. So most people's mortgages tend to be 15, 30 years. So over that course of time, I'm sure there'll be that opportunity. Natalie Carey with EXIT Realty Achieve. I'm here today with Bridget and Charlie from Contour Mortgage. We're making some quick videos here just to discuss topics that are coming up for buyers and sellers looking to purchase or sell on Long Island. We'd love to hear your feedback of some other topics you'd like to hear about us from. So click on the link below and just type in what you'd like to hear more about from us, and we'd be happy to answer those questions for you.